Hey guys, Virginia here. I would like to welcome you to the COLAB, the Central Ontario Laboratory. We are here to educate, inspire, and activate. Welcome to the COLAB.
Hey guys, I'm Virginia. This is the hair that lives on top, and today we have a very special guest.
That's right. And I'm Jamie Dorn. I'm the Executive Director of Research, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship at Georgian College. Excited to talk to our special guest, Chad Ballantyne. We've got the Creative Space, which is a co-working space, and we're excited to learn about that. So let's get into it.
I'm so excited. Let's do this. All right, so Chad, you have an amazing creative space that is called the Creative Space. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Sure. So the creative space came out of necessity back in 2008 when Rhubarb Media had been 2 years in living in my mother-in-law's basement. We moved downtown, found some space, ended up with too much space, and I started to invite some fellow coworkers to join me in the space because I was like, I can't afford this, and let's just see what this thing does. And I thought I had actually come up with something really cool, and I was like, wow, this is cool, like collaborative space for entrepreneurs and startups. And then I went online and it's like, oh yeah, that's called co-working, you dummy.
So what is the most important part about a co-working space? Like what is the draw to a co-working space?
I would say the number one word is community. So if you think of other office space for rents, they provide a service, they provide resources and tools, and there can be some community built in them, but our number one front filter, everything we do comes through the idea of we want to build community. People to, and I use these 4 B languages. So people want to be loved, they want to be safe, they want to be unique, and they want to belong. And we filter everything we do through those B's because a lot of times what you do seems to be more important. Like people are like, hey, what do you do? What do you do? And I'm like, why don't you ask me who I am and
yes.
would I be, whatever.
That's
so
cool.
So what is community? Community is helping to fulfill those major needs in people. And co-working strives to fulfill those. So we want you to feel loved. We want you to feel safe. We want you to feel unique. You can do what you like and be celebrated. And we want you to belong. So you're part of the club. So there's an affinity. So all that falls into the word community. When we say community, that's what we mean.
Okay, so Chad, this is really cool, building community, but can you give us a couple of examples of how you've done that with the people that have been in your co-working space?
For sure. So a lot of, if you're an entrepreneur, and I think both of you guys are, right?
Yeah.
Startups, entrepreneurs, you often feel like you're crazy. And people will tell you you're crazy, you feel crazy, and a lot of times you feel alone. So what I say is when you join a creative space, a co-working space, you are not alone. And so we instantly fill that gap of you are not alone. You're still crazy, by the way. and the crazy part is that it kind of dives into that uniqueness. So when you join a co-working space, when you come to the creative space or Canopy, we're really excited about to find out what makes you come alive. So it's part of what you do. It's part of your job and your work and your startup, but there's other things around that. And so we want people to feel like what they do and who they are is kind of like the thing that we're feeding into, we're pouring into, we're trying to make it better. So people always ask me what do you love doing, Chad? What's your thing? What's your goal in life? If you could do one thing. And it comes down to the phrase, doing what makes you come alive. I love helping others do what makes them come alive.
How many people do you think you have helped over the years through your co-working spaces?
I could only say hundreds, maybe thousands.
So you've seen so many companies and just innovators. We call them kind of like the innovators and entrepreneurs of our region, and they could just be big thinkers, but they may also be starting a company. So you've seen a lot of those over the last 12 years or so through your spaces. What have you seen kind of their focus, or how have you seen their focus change? Like what kinds of companies or ideas are relevant now that are evolving?
I mean, we're pretty eclectic in our membership. Like we have a lot of digital nomads. So digital nomads are, I mean, anyone who can work from anywhere and a computer's your tool.
That is such
Mm-hmm.
a great
That's like,
name. I love it.
yeah. So we're digital nomads, but then we do have a lot of media, internet, code programmers, people that like hardcore
Mm-hmm.
on their computer, crunching code or creating apps and whatnot. Media marketing, graphic designers were big,
Mm-hmm.
publishers, writers. We've had people from Toronto, like corporate Toronto, people who
Oh,
live in
wow.
Barrie, but they commute.
Yeah.
They just said, I'm not commuting anymore. Like I don't see my kids in the morning and I don't see them when I come
Mm-hmm.
home.
Mm-hmm.
So their company paid a membership at the creative space. So companies like Armstrong, Armstrong Advertising, it's a big
Oh, yeah.
marketing firm in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Lise, she was a member for years at our space. Um, Rawlings, the baseball glove company, one of their marketing reps was an amazing member in our space for years.
That's awesome.
So we love that. Like stop commuting, people. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you live in Barrie and you drive to Toronto to sit in a box and then
Yeah,
drive
you're
home,
nuts. Mm-hmm.
like 2 hours of insanity on the road, you're killing the planet and
Mm-hmm.
you don't see your kids and your family. So we feel like we're like this amazing opportunity to like fix a lot of things. Like,
Well, you're probably going to get even busier because the pandemic has been really driving this.
no, I agree. I think it's the new movement. I mean, corporations are shutting down their entire real estate offices, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're saying, hey, this COVID thing, you've proved that you can work from home, keep working, but they can't. Their efficiencies is not there, the
Down.
Mm-hmm.
productivity, their emotional state, their mental health. You're bouncing up against walls and kids and family
Yeah.
and washing dishes and doing laundry. Like it's just not ideal.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've been living
We've
this
got
for a year
this.
now.
We're both working at home right now, so it's
Yeah.
we've had to I've made a whole change to my parents' front room. That it used to be a front room. At some point when we were younger, when we only had one computer in the house, it was known as the computer room, and now it is the studio.
Mm-hmm. The studio, yeah.
The studio. It has been upgraded to the studio. We have carpet on the walls. It's officially a studio.
So, Chad, I got a question for you about the near future of work. And like you said, that the co-working space is probably one of those things that's going to rise up even more so after the pandemic's over. But, what things that are, happening now with remote working do you think are going to persist even when we're allowed to go back
I think,
to the normal way it was?
yeah, I think COVID is proving that we can work remote and
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. It's still highlighting the need for community and collaboration and
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
connectedness
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
well-being. So I think it's a kind of a double whammy for co-working in general. We're already seeing a spike, like even during the lockdowns. For those that can, there's just been more people hitting co-working sites and looking for spaces, even if they're looking for it when the lockdowns are over. There's just a lot of interest.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And so we started Canopy back in it was about December of 2019.
Yeah,
So
2019. Yeah.
pre COVID, and we got the plans. We started working on it. It was just a shell, and started to build. And then March hit, and everything shut down. And we're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, what did we just do? Like we're building
Mm-hmm.
this thing for people and community and events.
And now what?
We're
Yeah.
like, are we crazy? And we're like, yes. And then we actually pre all these conversations that we're having now, we're like, we think this could be what's needed. So we pushed through and we launched September 11th, and we opened with a dispersed crowd because it was still kind of like you could have these
Yep.
gatherings
Yep.
Yeah.
and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of excitement, a lot of energy. Sadly, we're in a heavier lockdown now, but
Yeah.
we're like Brandon Days, my partner in crime here at Canopy. He works with
Yes.
community builders,
Mm-hmm.
and we're excited about what's going to happen coming through this and out of this, and hoping that co-working spaces can be really the recovery program for our economy.
So Chad, just before we got started filming here, you and I were just chatting about music and implying around art and stuff when we were in this chat. So, that seems to be important in your life. So how do you feel like that helps you run a better co-working space?
I think it's part of tapping into what makes you come alive. So for me, art, music, just that energy is kind of a little bit of a lifeline for me. So I love music. I love art. I love expressions of art. We're theater bums for our family.
Mm-hmm.
All our kids grew up through the triple threat programs, moving art, KCP, Theater by the Bay, Talk is Free,
Mm-hmm.
and Rhubarb Media, my company, plug, is
Logo.
Link in the description.
Link
Logos.
below.
Logos.
we sponsor all the arts.
Wonderful.
So we use these three words on this show: educate, inspire, and activate. And those are our driving words for what we want to do on this show. And oftentimes we're speaking directly to those either students or innovators out there who are stuck, right? They want to do something,
Yes.
but they just haven't been able to make the move. So do you have any advice for those people?
Yeah, I use this word acronym kind of thing called BPM. So I always ask people, what's your burden? And they're like, well, what's a burden mean? Well, what do you like about the world? What do you hate about the world? That's a burden. And you have energy about that. You have emotions about that. You have thoughts about that.
Absolutely.
And then, so that's the B. The P is passion. That's kind of a combination of knowledge and actual skills. So are you passionate about this burden, and do you have skills that you can do that can make a difference about it? And the M is just mission. That becomes your mission. You're like, hey, if I can combine my burden with my passions and create a mission, that's my career. And it could be like mini careers, because we used to do this with kids, like junior high kids, and they're like, I don't know what my mission is. I just want to play with my friends and and do Candy Crush and and they're stressed out. They're like, why do I need to pick a mission? I'm 13. But I'm like, do mini missions every week. What are you happy about this week? What are you sad about? Are you passionate about it? Do you have some skills that you can apply to it? Make that your mission. And so I do this with entrepreneurs all the time. I'm like, and it really takes away from what's your education or whatever. It's really about who you are. And the passion and skills element is very important when you're talking about entrepreneurs. Because you're like, I'm really passionate about playing video games all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, but is that really going to accomplish anything? Is it going to change the world?
Yes.
Or they're like, I'm really passionate about art, and they're just not good at it, right? So there has to be some balance of
skill building.
Just because your mom puts your painting on the fridge doesn't mean you're an artist.
Today on The Hard Truth with Chad.
Yeah.
Sometimes your art is not good.
Sorry, but you are not an artist.
That is missing in our world. I call it trusted critique.
Trusted critique. Yes, absolutely.
You need to be held accountable. You need to be told you're wrong once in a while.
Yes. Yeah. That's one thing I can't stand is when people placate to you and just say, "Oh, that's wonderful. It's so good." And when you're just dying for a real critique. I always, there's that thing, you probably heard it too, is you surround yourself with people who are better at something than you are, right? So that you're forced to improve. And
If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness, yes. I do not like being the smartest person in the room. It's very uncomfortable.
Happens too often, though.
This is why
Right, B?
I collect people. That's something that I do. I collect people, and I collect amazing people who inspire me. And if someone can inspire me beyond how I inspire other people, that person is a super important human just to exist in the world in general.
So there's a word I use to describe myself. It's called Toomler, Tommler, and it's a Yiddish word.
Okay.
And it means to incite people to action, to
Yes.
encourage people to get involved, and to get stuff done.
Yes.
And
Oh,
I
cool.
tried so hard to what's my role in life and what do I do at the creative space? I don't want to be a creative space manager, a co-working manager. And a buddy of mine found this word, Toomler, and that's what I use. I'm a Toomler. So, and you are
think
too.
I'm a
I think
tumor.
both
I'm
you guys
definitely
are.
a tumor.
So,
Yes,
yeah.
That's an awesome spot to wrap up here.
absolutely.
So, Chad, thanks so much for chatting with us today. It has been very enjoyable to get to explore your brain a little bit and share some of your insights around co-working and how to succeed when you're working in one of those spaces. So
Yes.
thanks again. Make sure, this is where I get to say, everybody kind of like and subscribe to our video and put some comments in there. We love reading the comments. And then
And
share this
I
video.
do reply. I do reply to your comments if you put comments in there. You will see I reply to everything. So get your replies in there. Wait, no, I get my replies in there. You get your comments in there.
Yes.
All right. So, Chad, yes, thank you so much. This was very enlightening for me, and I think it's going to be enlightening for a lot of people who watch it who weren't sure about using a co-working space and are really interested in using, you know, that big word that we were talking about today, which is community, and really focusing on, you know, continuing to build and grow our amazing communities that we have. So thank you so much for being a place for that to happen.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it. Let's do it again.
Awesome. Yes,
Okay,
let's
we
do
will.
it again. Awesome.
We'll revisit. Six months from now, we'll have a revisit.
Awesome.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Chad.
Thank you so much. All right, I'll see you later, Chad.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.